Hey guys, we are live. And Jesse, I don't know if you saw it, but there it is, the thumbnail. JW.org and the United Nations. Get a room. That's what we're talking about. Get a room. This is what the topic of conversation is. So without further ado, let's do it.
Oh, hi, Dean. How you doing? It's good to see you again, Dean. Hi, guys. Sit down.
That's right, guys. Here we do. We're old school. We have that toxic masculinity. And if we offend you, it's because you're not used to getting your daily dose of what is it? Testosterone. So we're going to be talking about observing the world. My brother Jesse has been observing the world, and he's come to the conclusion, or Jehovah's Exile, that Jehovah is in love with the United Nations. Man, I don't know where to start. We have, let me see, a couple clips. This one was the original one that you sent me, and it was a picture. And in that article, Watchtower cited the United Nations. So then you sent me this one. A better world is near. And before we go into the subject, do you want to talk about the title?
Build back better. Jesus never said he's going to build back better or a better world. He says, look, I'm making all things new. You know, in Jesus' second coming, there, you know, this word better, you always say that there's no coincidences. Of all the words that they picked up, why didn't they say Jesus is near? The second coming of Christ is near. But why do they have a better world now? And especially now because they're politically neutral. And they should have smart people, and I think this is going to be the theme. They should have smart people working at headquarters. For example, they don't use any Christian terminology. They don't use Christmas. They don't use all the terms that Christianity uses, but they use a lot of the words that progressives and communists and globalists use. That's why I've always said they're not a religious organization. They are a political organization. We're dealing with the leftists, and I'm starting to see that more. All over the Jehovah's Witness, ex-Jehovah's Witness community, they're saying it. The Jehovah's Witnesses are a globalist organization. It's becoming basically clear. You have a lot of ignorant apostates, too, for example, that would say, oh, the Jehovah's Witnesses are a right-wing fundamentalist. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're balls to the wall, pedal to the metal globalist organization, leftist. And I think that's what we're going to talk about today.
So, a better world, build back better. Instead of quoting Jesus, they quote the United Nations, build back better. And then, to add insult to injury, we open up the page. We need a better world. How about we need Jesus?
Look at, if you can see that, I don't know if it's small, but if you can enlarge it, it says, we are in a world turmoil, stated Antonio Guterres, and he's not even a Mexican. He's probably one of them Spanish dudes that can't spell Guterres right.
Yeah.
It says, Secretary General of the United Nations. Would you not agree? Now the Jehovah's Witnesses in their magazines, they're agreeing with the United Nations. And you know what? This is they're sycophants. The United Nations doesn't like the Jehovah's Witnesses. If the United Nations were to rule the world, the first thing they would do is get rid of Warwick. The first thing they would do, you know how every apostate says the Jehovah's Witnesses are through. The Jehovah's Witnesses are, no, they're not. This is the United States of America. As long as we have the United States of America, the Jehovah's Witnesses will be here. If this was the United Nations, when we fall to the United Nations, the first one out are the Jehovah's Witnesses. There won't be freedom of religion. There'll be a national state. There'll be a world religion.
Jesse,
Jehovah's Witnesses are out.
Check this out. According to JW Suicide, Selena just rang into Joe and Fran. While we're doing this video, there are no such things as coincidences, my friend. But I'm not that self-important. But no, you're right. Going back to that point, Jesse, let's just go back. to that we need a better world. Gutierrez, UN Secretary General. Do you think they could have quoted Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Donald Trump? You think they could have quoted I don't know, somebody who's a very philanthropic, successful person? No.
And you know what's worse? And what's worse is
Uh-huh.
this guy is a Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Mexican.
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm writing for the United Nations as a Mexican, or for Watchtower, I'm sorry, I will quote Jose Alfredo Jimenez. I will quote Agustin Lara. I will quote all the great romantic people. Un mundo raro, a better place. If I was American, I would quote great authors. But this Gutierrez guy, the Watchtower quotes this Gutierrez guy about the United Nations.
Yeah.
Coming from a Spanish blood, we're very romantic people. He could have named something romantic. He could have even the Latin Vulgate Bible. You know, but the Watchtower chooses to quote the United Nations. And you're going to see example over example that I sent you. They always do this. And you know what? Lately, I always go to jw.org and I tell you, have you been to jw.org? And you go, no, I can't. You get sick, huh? You get sick to your stomach when you go there? You get violently ill?
Yeah, I get violently ill.
Yeah. Well, I can't. I go there and I read it and I always look up. And I think some of the latest ones I showed you, they even stealthily introduce. I think they're watching our videos at Watchtower because now they're putting it behind the scenes. They're not telling you directly that they're quoting the United Nations.
Check that out right there. What's wrong with this world, though? Ingrates. He has a point. Jalafa has a point. Do you know one of the last songs that I just had his name, Louis Armstrong sang in the 70s? 70s, come on, man. We had the Toyotas were ugly, the Chevys and the Dodges. We had the Ford Pinto. Gas. 70s were the best of times and the worst of times. But Louis Armstrong, the trumpet player, he's getting ready to pass on, go into the fourth dimension overdrive. And he sings a song that became a worldwide, all over the world hit. And it was called It's a Wonderful World. You guys know that song. And what this guy is saying right here is they're right. He's right. Jehovah's Witnesses are a bunch of ingrates. Everything is bad. But Louis Armstrong saw that despite it all, despite everything that was going down, the Vietnam War and stuff, he still saw the beauty in the creation of mankind and the earth. And man, he's right on it. Let's just go. So let's go on to 3. Economic problems, what God's kingdom will do. Why did you send me that, Jesse?
Okay, because this is the latest one. This one came out about 2 or 3 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Economic problems. Now, they're going to start talking, and this is a special campaign that they're going door to door. You know how we always used to do special campaigns? Mm-hmm. But these are not well-educated people. But watch, go to the next one. They're living off the fears of people. If you see that asterisk, that footnote, it says, according to a recent global report, there has been a striking fall in monthly wages. It warns that if nothing is done, there will be an increase in inequality and decline in living standards of many workers. Look at the footnote.
Uh-huh. So should we go to the footnote? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at that. Doesn't that look just like the Watchtower, jw.org?
Yes. And it also says that the International Labor Organization is a United Nations agency whose mandate is to advance social and economic justice by settling international labor standards. Wow. Founded in October 1919, the same month that Jesus picked his governing body members under the League of Nations. It is one of the first and oldest specialized agencies of the United Nations. Wow. Jesse, this ILO was of the same generation of the people that were chosen by Jesus Christ when he returned invisibly in 1914 and measured the temple. Wow.
To inspect the temple, yeah. Yeah. And I don't know what that is up there. I don't care what it is. Now, some people say it's some kind of, or I don't know that because I'm a poorly educated.
Oh, you're poorly educated?
Yes, I'm a poorly educated person. And I don't know what the blue and white is. I just know it looks just like jw.org. Same color, same everything. Now, these are what you call, this is a direct
Love Nevada. We love much, and now we're winning the country. To start winning. We won the evangelicals. We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Wow, so it's nice to know somebody loves us, Jesse.
Yeah, because Watchtower hates us.
And a couple of people that claim to be ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, they hate the uneducated. And I just want to let you guys know, if you're having a hard time following us, it's because my brother and Jesse have kicked it up a notch, like Emma Lagasse, and we're trying to talk to you like on a scholarly level, okay? Like that of a,
which reminds me, Gilbert, I might have to break away.
An academic level.
If the ambassador calls me, because I have some ambassadors.
Oh, it's ambassadors calling you?
In Geneva.
Okay.
So
okay.
if I have to break away.
So that's the point. It's not a coincidence, Jesse, that when we observe the world, Jehovah is always making love with the United Nations.
But why? This reminds me, a lot of people are not politically inclined. I always say this. I'm not going to back down because I lost my family to the Jehovah's Witness over this. They are not a religious organization. They're a political hack organization. Do you remember when Chris Christie was governor of New Jersey? And the New Jersey people, they all love each other. You know, they love the New Jersey Nets and everything. And they're real proud of their state. And one of the biggest, most important people in New Jersey is Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen. And stupid Chris Christie, he kept trying to curry favor with Bruce Springsteen. And everybody knows Bruce Springsteen loves Barack Obama. They're like that picture you had.
Yeah.
And he's a hardcore Democrat. And Chris Christie, the governor, the Republican governor, he's trying to show Bruce Springsteen how much he cares about him. Bruce Springsteen couldn't care less on the national scene about Chris Christie. It was embarrassing how sycophant he was. Yeah. It's the same thing that's happening here with Jehovah's Witness. The United Nations doesn't care about Jehovah's Witnesses. But the Jehovah's Witnesses are always trying to kiss the ring of the United Nations. Isn't that interesting? Of all the news agencies, all the authorities in the world, in the planet, do you think they could go to a nation and get input for their magazine? Instead, they go to the image of the beast. They do not go to the beast. Yeah.
A lot of people are not going to want to listen to that because, you know, the Obama, Christie. But you didn't mention Bruce Springsteen, did you?
Yeah, Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, it was Bruce Springsteen. And Obama. He did it for both of them.
No, Bruce Springsteen and Barack Obama love each other.
But Chris Christie, the governor of New Jersey, was trying to kiss both of their butts.
Curry, they don't care about him. And I'm using that as an illustration of how Watchtower is trying to curry favor with the United Nations. In the end, those who live by the sword will die by the sword. The United Nations would chop Warwick in half. As a religious organization, they would have to become a political organization in their one world religion. They would not be able to have religious doctrine. No, these people are dumb. Now, something real important, and I want to get back to ignorance because I'm poorly educated. But can you go back to that first picture of the polar bear?
Okay, keep talking. I'm gonna see if I can find it. Oh, there it is.
Now, okay, this is a real important because look at, blow it up if you can.
I can't. Let me see.
Everybody in their computer can blow it up.
Yeah.
Now, when I put this on social media, that this was fake, computer-generated imagery, Jehovah's Witnesses, ex-Apostates, ex-Jehovah's Witnesses didn't have the mental capacity to understand my argument.
Right.
They go, hey, you stupid, don't you know that is shown as an illustration? And I got a lot of feedback on that. and I was stupid, that I didn't understand that they know that this is propaganda, that this is not propaganda, but this is CGI, computer generated imagery. That's not real trash out there. This is not a real picture. But what I said is the Jehovah's Witnesses are living off this propaganda. The average Jehovah's Witness, I would venture to say, doesn't have the mental capacity to understand that this is CGI. Like if my mother-in-law, she's a dumb retard, God bless her soul. If she saw this in the Awake or Watchtower, she would think that this is a real photo. They have this much faith in the JW.org. They would never question it. And all I'm saying is, isn't there one Jehovah's Witness on the planet out of 7 million, 8 million, 3 million, whatever the hell they are, who would tell Watchtower, hey, cut this shit off. Cut it off. This is propaganda. This is not a true photo. Isn't Satan the father of the lie? This is a lie. That JW, this is a lie. This is not a true photo.
Okay, so speaking of that, let me see if I can put this one up. Why did you send me that about lying?
Because Jehovah's Witnesses are satanic and they're AntiChrist. They're bordering on AntiChrist. The Bible says there are many AntiChrists. It's not just the 666. Go to the next picture and you'll see. Why is lying common today? Of all the lies that we see, January 6th, COVID-19, the conspiracy theory and all the lies on the planet, they pick Christianity? Since when are the Christians starting a war in the Ukraine? Since when are the Christians vaccinating people? Since when are the Christians saying that a man can have a baby? Christians are not leading the lies on this planet today. Jehovah hates Christianity so much that this is their default into showing what a lie is.
So Jesse,
some Jehovah's Witness has to stand up and say, hey, Watchtower, pick another goddamn, like, quit picking on the Christians. You're feeding into anti-Christian bias.
So the big news right now is not that prices are not going up. This is going down. Your dollar has less purchasing power, which is resulting in a lie, that this is turning into a lie, false confidence. So what you're saying is everybody is experiencing the lie, the effect of the lie, and everyone's talking about it. But instead, Watchtower says, yeah, we're living in a world of lies, but they don't mention the Federal Reserve. They blame the churches.
Look, I'll give you a lie, a famous lie. And if any Jehovah's Witness is watching this, please do a public service announcement. Ask them to leave. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, you might die of a heart attack if you hear this. Clear the air. Give a warning. Count 10 seconds. Any Jehovah's Witness watching this show right now, get out. Get out. I'm going to say something that could cause you to have a heart attack. Are you counting down? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A lie, a famous lie that just happened in the planet. A famous lie. A mistruth or a half-truth, quarter truth, or tenth. But let's just call it a lie. Dr. Fauci admitted that there is a risk in myocarditis by getting the jabby yabby. 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 9 months ago, people who said that were called conspiracy theorists. Jehovah never once defended his people. Jehovah never once defended his people and say, you know what? At least be informed. There's a risk of myocarditis. Now, in the defense of Dr. Fauci, he said that the risk of the COVID is greater than getting myocarditis. But that's not the way it was sold to us. To us, they were sold that it was safe and effective. Now we're finding out that there is a risk of myocarditis. He admitted it. A public official admitted it. That is called a lie, a half-truth, whatever you want to call it. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. But Jehovah, he picks on Christians. It's important. The truth is important everywhere. Go to the next picture. Of all the lies on the planet, and I just enumerated one, just one. I just talked about one lie, a big lie, which has the heart of billions of people on the planet. Watchtower picks on Christians.
Look at that picture, guys. Look at the picture. Why is lying so common today? They're blaming your churches.
They're
not blaming the agencies, the three-letter agencies.
Look, there's a war right now in Central Europe, in Eastern Central Europe. And one side is losing the battle, and yet the mainstream media will refuse to tell everybody.
Yeah.
That's called a lie, by hiding the truth. Watchtower couldn't use that lie. Why do they pick on Christians? This is what I'm saying, that they're AntiChrist. They're feeding into the narrative that Christians are liars. They're a very dangerous organization. Very dangerous organization. Now, what does that say? Jehovah's Witnesses are AntiChrist.
Look at the pictures.
Yeah. See, why is it common? In our time, which the Bible calls the last days, Satan's misleading influence on the world has grown. People commonly tell lies to mislead others and take advantage of them. Now, the context of Satan being brought up in the cross, this is borderline blasphemy in the Christian world. This is blasphemy. You know what, Gilbert? I always said that the most beautiful people on the planet are the Christians. If Watchtower did this in Iran against the church, they would all be dead. If they did this in Iraq or Saudi Arabia, but they come to our neighborhood, they come to our planet, the United States of America, and they go and blaspheme against Christians, and we don't do nothing. We turn the other cheek. We Christians turn the other cheek. Let him go to China and do that. Let Jehovah go to China and say, you know what? The Chinese communists are lying about what happened in Tiananmen Square. They're lying what happened in the Wuhan lab. They would be in a concentration camp so fast. But we American Christians, we shut our pie hole. We turn the other cheek.
Well, that leads to that second sentence. Falsehoods also permeates most religions today. They just attacked all of the religions. And what do the religions do in America with Jehovah's Witnesses?
One ear, out the other. We let them go ahead and attack us. They're like that Chihuahua that's barking when you're walking down the street. He can't do nothing. He's just a yapper. That's what Jehovah has been reduced to. A yapping Chihuahua. Insignificant. Sad, sad.
Jehovah is a yapping Chihuahua.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Now, I put in a picture, get a room. In almost every magazine, in almost every article, that's all you're seeing. Watchtower making sweet love to the United Nations.
And you know what? I challenge all the apostates to go to jw.org and dissect it. It's real interesting because we got a wealth of information. I think that's why they burn their magazines and their books, because you could do a rebuttal. You could do a step-by-step analysis of what they're teaching. Jehovah's Witnesses are like a hanging fastball. Watchtower's teachings are like a hanging fastball to Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron. They're going to knock it out of the park, the apostates. Because this is so easy. If you go to their asterisks and their quotes, they're always quoting. Now, check this out. They think they're funny. If you go to some of their quotes, like some of their latest, they'll quote a person. And then you look up that person, and then you find out he's part of an NGO, which is associated with the United Nations. But most of all of their resources and footnotes, they're getting somehow from groups with the United Nations or affiliated through non-governmental organizations, which was how Watchtower was affiliated, as an NGO, non-governmental organization. Yeah. Now, what does that say?
cierto lo que dice. It's true what you're saying because, oh, do you know that
Let me read it. Dice, cierto lo que
you
dicen ahora. ¿Por qué creen o saben
can
que en
translate
algunos países como España se llaman testigos cristianos de Jehová? Gracias por excelente trabajo el de ambos. Yo tengo una pregunta, Daniel Rodríguez. Si usted es de España, ahorita hablamos de un señor que Gutiérrez, y aquí en Estados Unidos así no se escribe Gutiérrez. Hacen todo raro allá en España ustedes. Yo creo por eso nosotros nos venimos a este lado del Atlántico.
But he's saying that in other countries like Spain, they're called the Christian congregations of Jehovah's Witnesses.
They're not Christian. They're not Christian.
Why are they doing that? Because they're trying to probably hide or get the protections. They're trying to get.
Or there's different corporations. It's a shell game. There's probably money influence. I hate to be I hate to be that way talking about money, but it could be different corporations. And
I think it could be, I think it could be that they call themselves the Christian congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, so that way they can protect themselves under the protection of Christianity, while at the same time stabbing him in the back with stuff like this. Oh no, he's from Uruguay. Yep. And he says, no, they're not Christians. For some reason, in my other channel.
Espérate, ¿es de Uruguay? No de
Yeah.
España. Eso es peor. Just kidding. Nomás estoy
Hey,
bromeando.
Daniel, nomás tienes que, you just have to type this in, and I have another channel in Spanish, so you can look at that. Gigi for GB in Español. So, wow, Jesse, I mean, we hit a lot of topics today. Are we missing anything about the lovemaking with the United Nations? I will say this. Here's the thing with a lot of people in the ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. A lot of you are trying to say, well, Gilbert, I want to see the documents. I want to see the pictures of the governing body naked in a sex act in the UN Secretary General Assembly Hall. Well, you're not going to find that. Yeah, but you're saying that you need to get a room. I need to see the evidence and the pornographic images of the governing body. I need proof. Jesus says, from the abundance of a man's heart, his mouth speaks. All you have to do is go to every single Watchtower magazine lately, everything that they publish, and all they do is sing the praises of the United Nations. But some of you want all of the documents. You want all of the little snapshot pictures. You want to see Samuel Hurd naked with Secretary General Gutierrez. That's my proof. And then if we give it to you, you're going to be like, well, how do I know that's not Photoshop? It never ends. That's why Jesus never said research. That's why Jesus never said go to the mountains of the pyramids of Giza. That's why Jesus didn't say go to Machu Picchu. He said pay attention to how you listen. Listen. Everything Watchtower is writing, everything Watchtower is saying is that they have a love relationship. But like my brother Jesse pointed out, the United Nations isn't interested in them. They're happy that they have a little girlfriend on the side. But they will drop Watchtower, throw him in jail, steal their money in a heartbeat. There's no loyalty there. Just like Chris Christie and Bruce Springsteen, Chris Christie and Barack Obama. That was the illustration.
Let's end game it. Let's end game it because we're Jehovah's Apostates. Let's say we drop the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. We get rid of the United States Constitution as a nation. We all get together in a constitutional convention, and we all vote as American citizens that we're going to get rid of freedom of religion, and we're going to submit to the religion of the United Nations. Jehovah will end right there. Boom. It's over. As you know it. There won't be no Last Supper. There won't be a memorial. There won't be there won't be door to door. There won't be no tracts. They're going to have to push the United Nations religion, whatever that is. If it's Islam or whatever the communism, whatever it is. A lot of ways the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Watchtower, I know a lot of people are not going to like this,
Mm-hmm.
but they owe their birth to the United States Constitution, the First Amendment, freedom of religion in the United States. That's why they're a corporation here in the United States of America. And that's what gives their lily white ass the privilege to go to other countries. But you get rid of the First Amendment, you think it's going to go good? You think Russia is going to allow the Jehovah's Witnesses in Russia? You think Brazil is going to? They already got rid of Bolsonaro. Do you think China is going to allow the Jehovah's Witnesses? They have to stop kissing the butt of the United Nations and come home. Come home where your corporation papers are, Jehovah. Come home to the United States.
Poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Yeah.
So if Donald Trump becomes president and we have the poorly educated,
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
That's us.
so if Donald Trump wins, let's just say Donald Trump wins, is he going to go Putin on the Jehovah's Witnesses?
No. In
Or
every
the Jehovah's Witnesses are poorly educated, but he still loves the poorly educated.
Yeah.
They didn't vote for Donald Trump, and he still loves them because Donald Trump loves the First Amendment.
Yeah, it's very simple. It's real simple. And here's the thing about a lot of times people say that they're atheists or they're anti-American. They bash America or they bash Christianity. At the end of the day, we learned when we were babies, these naysayers, they're not going to be around when the shit hits the fan. They're not going to be around. For example, we talked about the myocarditis. Let's say you took the Jehovah Jabby Yabby, and you get myocarditis. Is Jehovah going to be there to help you? Wouldn't it have been better not to listen to the Watchtower and go with your gut instinct? Remember in Maui in the wildfires, they said that the people that survived were the people who didn't pay attention to the roadblocks. The people who went on their gut instinct as a human being. But those who followed the direction died. There's always been an American tradition, a Christian, a Western civilization. Didn't the Apostle John say, test every spirit? Test the spirit to see if it's true or not? Mm-hmm. In one of his epistles, in one of his letters, John talks about that. And that's the thing about the Jehovah's Witnesses. Not one of them, not one Jehovah's Witness on the entire planet will question the Watchtower. Hey, in the name of Jehovah, you're writing this? And in the name of Jehovah, you're always quoting the United Nations? Can't you mix in some CNN or Fox News or MSNBC or Brazil News Today? It's always the United Nations.
Can you show the front cover again? Okay. They still have announcing Jehovah's Kingdom, huh?
Yeah.
Is there anything that we missed about this thing that you wanted to add or no?
No, I think that's pretty good. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Or if somebody wants to come on, ask some questions.
Quantum ignorance.
Now, the quantum ignorance is not of the part. So this is something that Selena and Jimmy Bell are telling that I agree with them. The brothers at the top are not ignorant. They're elders. And the ones who read the JW.org and the Watchtower and Awake magazines, they fall into quantum ignorance. They're not allowed to use their reasoning abilities. In that, I think Selena and Jimmy Bell are correct. You know, the people at the top, they know what they're doing. They're manipulating all these people.
Yeah. How could they not? Yeah. But even then, the people at the top, everything is compartmentalized. I've seen that with my own eyes at work. You go to a place and everything is in compartments and compartments. Everybody's in cubicles upon cubicles. And so even within Watchtower, you know, look at, for example, even Barbara Anderson. Barbara Anderson was in a cubicle. She only knows what she knows what happened in that cubicle. But there's so many other things that were happening in the other cubicles. And that's how the demons work. That's the power of these people. They keep everybody in all these cubicles ignorant of what everybody else is doing. And they can't see, you know, they can't see the major plan that these demons have.
But you know what? The beauty of Barbara Anderson is that she was in a cubicle, like you said. But this is the beautiful thing, is that she acted on the knowledge that she gained. She
Correct.
was receiving all these letters, and she said, "No, I can't be part of this."
Correct.
And that's what I'm saying about these Jehovah's Witnesses. They get this JW. They get the Watchtower and Wake magazine every week. And how come it has to be me, some Mexican wetback over here, Beaner, just a lowly educated guy? How come I have to be pointing out, hey, this is not a religious magazine. You're supposed to be neutral. You disfellowship people for having a Republican or a conservative point of view, but you have a satanic or a communist or a Democrat point of view, and you go straight to the front page. You're a political rag. How come no other Jehovah's Witnesses can come up? I think it's a quantum ignorance.
Yeah. That I think it's part of the spiritual food, because Satan will always tell you what he's doing.
Yeah. And you know what? I lost two brothers. Paul DeAnda of Somerton, who I love dearly, and Joe Gonzalez of Jonesboro, Arkansas. Two beautiful brothers. I lost them. My brothers, my beloved brothers, because of this political shit. I couldn't put up with it. They stayed. See how it divides us? This politics divides us. They stayed in that communist rag of the Watchtower, and I had to leave. I go, no, I'm not going to be a commie. I'm not a United Nations lover. I'm not a brown noser. And if my party says something stupid, I'll attack them too. Like people go, well, Donald Trump, he's a retard. I know he's a retard, but he's my retard. But at least I'm willing to say he's a retard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not. The Watchtower is retarded. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So I don't think we got anybody coming in. If you guys have any questions, we will address them before we leave. So if you guys have any questions,
you know what? Julian Watson has a great question. He wants to know who's running the mics tonight.
Oh, okay. Who's running the mics?
Is it a ministerial servant?
Or it could be a Karen, Jehovah's Witness elder's wife. Let's see here. Remove from the studio.
I think. Ask Julian Watson, when he was running mics at the hall, did he ever sneak a peek?
Oh man, everybody sneaked a peek. Come on. Oh, a bunch of liars.
No, I fought it back.
No, I know, but a lot of women, Jesse, dressed in a way to get attention. They wanted to show off their boobs because maybe their husbands were gay. Jehovah's Witnesses are a bunch of freaks.
There's like a 0.7 second rule.
0.7 second, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be like the Phoenix Suns. You got to move that ball fast. If you're going to sneak a peek at the Kingdom Hall, you got to do it fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a lot of sisters that were showing a lot. Mm-hmm. Here we go. It's quite interesting, the parallels between the current Watchtower messaging and the globalist agenda. How do they not see it? How do you not see it?
Well, Gilbert, let me address that. You know what?
How do you not see that?
Well, let me answer that. This guy, Gorgeous Roddy Crump, I don't think he understands how great of a question. Maybe he does. Mm-hmm. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that is such a damn great question. Did he phrase it as a question?
Yeah. No.
No, he didn't.
Well, go ahead.
No, he didn't phrase it as a question. He phrased it as a statement. It's so true. I think not all, but some of it is based on the fact that our atheist brothers and sisters, our Democrat brothers and sisters, ex-Jehovah's Witness, our socialist or progressive Jehovah's Witnesses, they have the view that the Jehovah's organization is a right-wing fundamentalist religion. And so when you view the Jehovah's Witness from that premise, you can't see how they're leftist organization, how they're an ideologue. They're not a religious. You started with the premise that they're a right-wing fundamentalist church. They're not. You think that they're a right-wing Christian organization. They're not. They even tell you they're not a church. They tell you Jehovah has a progressive, but when people see it through the prism of hating Christians, hating right-wingers, then they lump the Jehovah's Witness as a right-wing fundamentalist church, and they can't make the connection. They can't see the forest for the trees. They think Jehovah and Jerry Falwell are the same thing.
So I hope Gorgeous understood that. That's brilliant. That's really brilliant on top, a part of Watchtower. I mean, it's like they did a complete, like, I mean,
Gilbert,
they dressed up like a woman and said, "I'm a woman, you can't touch me," when
and
they're
this,
really, yeah.
you,
And they got everybody fooled, thinking that they're a church and everything else.
they're not.
But everything, yeah, it's genius on part of Watchtower, and that's how they're having the parallels, and people don't see the parallels.
You and me, we always got in fights. Me and you and I. I believe Jesus Christ is God, and you believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and we both respect it. But when you tell me that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, I agree with you. I agree with you. But then I go and read my scripture and stuff, and I see things that only no mortal could devise. No mortal could. And Jesus said, let the wheat and the weeds grow together. There's no way that this guy in Palestine 2,000 years ago could have come up with this. These are not mortal teachings. And throughout history, the wheat and the weeds always grow together. They always grow together. So you have these people that call themselves Christians, but they're not Christians.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on the right wing side and on the left wing side, both of them, they have ulterior motives.
And we're going to talk about that. And I don't want to talk about what's going on. I just got a text message. I guess, Selena, the Jimmy thing. But we're going to talk about that. But on that particular point about the wheat and the weeds. But Jesse, on this parallel between the United Nations and the Jehovah's Witness, if you thought that was a good statement, this guy, it's funny how Jehovah's Witnesses don't get more flack in the United States for not allowing the transformers and transporters, the trans and the gays. So that's a good point. If the Jehovah's Witnesses were like Joel Osteen, oh my God, they would be hanging from a roof from the political realm saying, how dare you talk this way about homosexuals, transvestites, and everybody in between. Jehovah's Witnesses disrespect everybody on the rainbow flag, right? But it's funny how they don't get any flack.
But Jehovah prefaced it by saying, in the USA, that is great. He nailed it. Because if you go to Europe, the communists are always talking about Europe. In Europe, we do this. In Europe, you start wars, retards. We do too. Golly, too much damn war. Hey, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding, huh? As I get older, I turn more into a hippie. Now, I've been dreaming about one day I might smoke some, herbal essence or something like that. Because, okay, I haven't gone there never in my life. But, man, the world is so retarded. Maybe the hippies were onto something.
Maybe they were onto something.
Okay. But anyways, but he said in the USA, but if you go to Europe, like Lloyd, that's all Lloyd talks about is homosexuality and the Jehovah's Witnesses. Go put Gay and Lloyd Evans. He has like 100 videos on that subject.
Mm-hmm.
He's obsessed with that subject. I mean, I want to talk about football or baseball or hockey, transgenderism one time, gays another time, hot babes sneaking a peek while you're running the mics. Change the subject a little bit. But that guy's always obsessed with it. But in the United States, we talk about a lot of other subjects. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. JW Suicides also did a good one. Watchtower is not a right-wing fundamentalist church or a left-wing church. They don't give a shit about anyone. There you go.
That's a damn good. But here's what I'm saying. He is correct. JW Suicides is correct. They're not a left-wing church. Yes, I understand that. But they are a left-wing organization. They are a leftist rag. They are a leftist rag. They're coming to the core. You dissect the Jehovah's Witness, you get Karl Marx, man. Boom.
Yeah. I like this one here. Many men have been DF'd, good men, but the pedos are in, and the women are slowly leaving. Yeah. Hey, there's this girl. She texted me. Her name's Marianne, and she's gonna like this. There's a lot of problems going on right now in the ex-Jehovah's Witness soap opera world, which is good. Listen, no matter where you go in life, you're going to find drama. So I just chose, I know Jehovah's Witnesses. I know I lived a cult. I'll fight here. I'm not going to go try and be Alex Jones because that's not my world. Now, it's like in World War II, right? Alex Jones is fighting D-Day, right? Rand Paul and Ron Paul are fighting over here in Okinawa. We're all fighting different battles. But at the end of the day, we want to fight for the truth. Now, in our world, in our little itty bitty, can I do this? Can you bear with me? In our little world,
If we bring a little joy into your humdrum lives, it makes us feel as though our hard work ain't been in vain for nothing.
that was
You all.
yes, you are. That was Selena and Jimmy, and they want to bring joy to our humdrum lives. But Jesse, you told me no, Gilbert, you're wrong. This has to do with the weeds and the wheat. And I'm not trying to say that these people are on the side of Satan. No, that all throughout history and all throughout our lives, even the people right now that are watching, we're going to be separated. We keep getting separated. And it doesn't mean anything bad on your part, but there's always been a separation taking place. And it's going to continue happening. So get used to it. And it's not a bad thing. Did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that's why I've always told you, since I was a little kid, I've always been like, I'm like Bobby Kennedy and John F. Kennedy. I'm an anti-communist. And I don't know why I was born like that. You know how some people say, I was born gay, or I was born a woman, or whatever. I was born anti-communist. And I have to pray on it to love the commies. Like, I have friends that are commies and family that are commies, and I love them. But because I go in prayer and fasting, I know it doesn't look like I'm fasting right now, but yeah, I go into to love your brothers. But I always knew since I was a baby, there's no such thing as community. I hate that word community. There's not a community. We're divided. And the faster you embrace it, that's why our forefathers told us, united we stand, divided we fall. Because you always have to work at unity. But you have to embrace the fact that we're not a community. There's going to be people that hate each other. In the founding of our nation, look at the founding of our nation. You think that everybody in the 13 original colonies was against King George?
No.
There was called loyalists, and there was people who were loyal, and it divided every family. Every household was divided. Father against son, mother against daughter. It divided everything. And it's the same way right here. We're not a community. We're divided. Some people don't believe in God, and some people do believe in God. Now, it doesn't mean that we hate the godless. We got to be like Donald Trump. We got to love the highly educated, and we have to love the lowly educated. Watch, look at that video. We got to be like this.
Mm-hmm. Like who? Like this guy?
Poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Hold on.
Poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
So, what do we do with the poorly educated? Do we throw them out? No, that's what. I told that to her, to Marianne. I said, I'm tired of throwing people away, flushing them down the drain. I'm tired of seeing people. That's all we do as Jehovah's Witness, disfellowship people and flush them down the drain.
Yeah, like for instance, take some of the greatest. You're not going to believe this. When you were trying to tell our sister about the Jehovah's Witness, you made her a stronger Jehovah's Witness.
Mm-hmm.
Annabelle, you made her a stronger Jehovah's Witness. When we were kids, she didn't care about Jehovah, but you attacked her. Now she's like Jehovah star. She's a superstar over there. And
this is what they do to you. This is what all of us do. To flush everyone down the toilet.
In the apostate community, in the apostate world, the Jehovah's Witness, ex-Jehovah's Witness world, I'm sorry, I used the word community.
Yeah, I was going to catch you on that.
In the ex-Jehovah's Witness videos, the apostates that are atheists, and some of them, I break them up into different, and they're not a community either themselves. They have some of the greatest questions that a Christian can face. When you listen to some of your ex-Jehovah's Witnesses who have been battered and have no faith in God, and some of the questions that they have are the most faith inspiring questions a
Yeah.
Christian have. You don't want to be a yes man. You want to confront these questions and listen to these apostates that are atheists, because a lot of them have been beaten to crap,
Yeah.
and they have legitimate questions. So if you hate apostates that are atheists, maybe you should be in prayer. Maybe you're the problem. And see, that's what I said. I'm a sinner. I hate the commies. And that's not right. I'm not no better than they are. I'm worse than they are. Hate is homicide. Why are they thinking this way? You know, because maybe they've seen abject poverty. Maybe they've seen abuse, corporate abuse. And I'm just over here mad at them because they're communists and I don't agree with their ideology, but I don't know where they're coming from. And so we have to stop that hate.
Yeah, just be careful. You know, you can have your opinion. I'm not saying don't have your opinion, don't fight. But you're right. You have to check yourself all the time and make sure you're not hating, because hate is homicide. So do I make fun of Reese? Do I make fun of Jimmy and Selena? Hell yeah, I do. I love them. I love them. And I'm not going to let them get away with some of the things that they said. But
you know what? People don't know, when you were an elder, when we were elders here in Yuma, a lot of elders were like that famous basketball player. Who is it? Kwame Brown? He's a YouTuber, huh? He used to play for the Lakers, and he played with Michael Jordan. And Kwame Brown is a real beautiful man, because he's not the most intelligent person out there, but he listens to everything. And he comes up with this saying that you love. Kwame Brown says he classifies people, get along,
go along to get along.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people do. And when you were an elder, you didn't do that. A lot of elders are in the Jehovah's Witness organization. They know about the 2 witness rule. So you have to go along to get along. When you have to make a point, are you going to stay there? When you used to confront a young person who was doing something, you used to fight them when everybody would say, okay, Gilbert, just let it go. Just let it go. And people would come, hey, can't you tell your brother to shut up? I go, no, I can't control my brother. You pick the subject, he's going to fight it out. He's not going to go along to get along. And so getting back to Jimmy Bell and Selena, how many times have I told you to shut up about that? Okay, about 10 times. And what the hell do you tell me? No. I'm going to dissect it. Huh?
Okay. Now, look, guys, I got to tell you a story. So in Yuma, Arizona, there's 2 Spanish congregations at the time. So we have the West and the East. The East was the first one to divide into 2, and they have the East and the Central. I'm on one. Now Jesse's going to come in eventually to the Central. But Jesse, did all of the congregations want me?
Nobody wanted you.
But I was the elder.
Yeah, you were the youngest guy. You were probably 19 or 20 years old. But you were
a
pain in the ass. You were a pain in the ass. You were so bad, nobody wanted you. So you went to, this is when you came back from Welton, huh?
Yeah.
They didn't want you, but they took you because Mom was in the East. And since you were with Mom, the East took you. But Mark wasn't going to take you. The presiding overseer.
No, he wasn't in that congregation. He was in the West.
Yeah.
So then the West.
Yeah, he was the city overseer. He wasn't going to have you in there.
Yeah. And so the West divides, and then they form a new congregation. And so they bring in a guy from out of town, Jeff Rosales, who used to live in Yuma. And I live in the West congregation, and my house could be used as a book study. So what happened there? What? Did the elders want me in the West?
No, they carved out the territory to put you in the other one.
Yeah. Now I tell you this story for this reason, because the city overseer and my brother-in-law, the circuit overseer, the city overseer and the circuit overseer, they have a little brother who's a horn. You know, he'll have sex. Well, I'm not saying, but he's just a horn dog that will have sex with anything at 98 degrees, right? Maybe that's an exaggeration. You'll love him. He's the best guy to go have a party with, get drunk with. But he has a city overseer brother, circuit overseer brother, and he's somewhat protected. We worked at the same place, not at the same time, but there was a Jehovah's Witness elder who was a thief, stupid thief, blatantly. But I took it from this to full fruition after after he left Yuma and ran all the way to Tennessee to avoid being removed. But I finally, we brought it to closure. The guy was the Jehovah's Witness elder. After my big 3-ring binder was removed as an elder for flat out theft. And I told him, I go, I'm your best friend. I'm the one that loves you the most because I love you. I wouldn't do this if I didn't love you. Okay, this is the moral of the story. So Chewy, the really bad Jehovah's Witness with 2 power brokers in Yuma, the city overseer and the district overseer, is telling the story like, yeah. So my brother-in-law, the circuit overseer, says, well, if it would have been in our congregation, we would have done this, I would have done this and I would have done that. And what did Chewy say, Jesse?
It's full of shit. You wouldn't have done nothing.
Yeah.
Gilbert
is, yeah.
Here's a real important, and it gives you insight.
Gilbert's the only elder I know that actually would do something about it.
Because look, so this guy was involved in theft. He was involved in theft at the place that you guys worked at.
Yeah.
And normally, when you accuse a brother as a Jehovah's Witness, you don't bring in evidence. It's all hearsay, and you bring in it, and it's done in 2 or 3 hours. You were dealing with the congregation 1,000 miles away. He left Yuma. You pulled up a 3-ring binder, and you brought out invoices, company invoices,
Statements,
and pictures of what he was stealing and how he was doing it. And you documented how, and you made a binder, and you sent it to the elders. And that the other elder body didn't want to do anything because it's easier to go along than to get along. And the guy wore a pretty suit. He had a 3-piece suit, and he wore the 1950 shoes. And he looked good in a suit and a bow tie, suspenders, just what Jehovah loves, an empty suit. But you send it, and he goes, you will act on this, or I'm taking it to the cops. And so they removed him. But he never got in trouble. All he did was he was not an elder.
Yeah. So the point is go along to get along. Everybody likes to go along to get along. So I don't like to fight everybody. I don't like to get in all these wars. But there's some lines that when you cross, hey, don't cross that line with me. Don't be accusing Mike and Cam of working for Watchtower. Don't accuse Rick Farron of being controlled opposition. Don't tell me that everything that everybody has done that wasn't related to child sex abuse is wasted effort, quote unquote. That's what she said. Don't tell me that shit. Don't tell me then, and you're going to throw Raymond France under the bus. Raymond France is known as an apostate, and I wear that badge pridefully. So if you're going to tell me that an apostate is bad, fuck you. No, I'm team apostate. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. And I told you not to say that, but Jesse, now if you want to call yourself a whistleblower, if you want to call yourself a whatever, I'm all for it. All I'm saying is you need to apologize to Raymond France. You need to apologize to all of the tens of thousands of people that came before Raymond France and the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people after France who are apostates. That's all I'm saying. Apologize. And for that, if you go to Twitter, and you just type in these words, just hashtag Selena apologize. That's all I want. I want you to apologize. John Cedars, I don't hate to defend him, but he's not paid by Watchtower. There is no honor amongst thieves. Watchtower hates him way more than they hate you and me.
You know what?
So, yeah.
Playing devil's advocate here. I'm sure that if you ask Jimmy or Selena, why did you say that? They will say, no, that they have a lot of respect for the apostates. Could they have just had diarrhea of the mouth when they attacked?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's what an apology is for. And don't apologize to me. Apologize to Raymond France and the people before him that are dead, that can't say what I just said. And don't come on the show and accuse somebody of being a Watchtower operative or stab them in the front. Don't stab them in the back. You got something to say it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so I told you that story about what I did and the kind of elder I was, because the lowly guys, the sinners, are telling the city overseer and the circuit overseer, you guys are full of shit. Gilbert is the one that built the damn congregations in the East, in the Valle Vista and the Welton. I know what I did. I know it takes a lot of freaking work. You know what it takes to build a kingdom, a congregation with a school. The theocratic ministry school is the center, really, of that congregation. You have a very good school conductor. You keep people coming back in. It takes a lot of damn work to do shepherding calls and bring people into and keep a congregation going. We had our meeting at Saturday at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock on Saturday. Sunday at 10 o'clock. The city overseer, self-made millionaire, and my brother-in-law, the circuit overseer, Sunday at 10, would get close to 200 people on a Sunday. Jesse, our congregation, Saturday at 4, we were right with them in attendance. You know why? Because those fuckers, and I'll say it again, Mark Deanda and Paul, no, those guys, I know, but those guys, they rode the gravy train, the easy 10 o'clock Sunday. Everybody goes Sunday. It takes a shitload of work to get that hall filled to capacity on a Saturday at 4. And I'm not bragging. I'm saying I know what it does. Like I don't know how to do what you do in business as far as climbing roofs, fixing, electrical problems and all that other shit. But I can build kingdom. I can build a congregation. I know how to do that. Unfortunately, that's my damn gift that I had. I don't want to be a preacher. I don't want to be a minister, but I just know how to do that. And if anybody's going to come to the Kingdom Hall or going to come to a house of God and pull that crap, be a pedophile or be a womanizer, I'm not going to be like the circuit overseer and my brother-in-law, the other circuit overseer, and the city overseer, and give an elder who's banging a wife and destroys her family and give him a promotion to Bethel. That's what those guys did. My brother-in-law and his older brother, the city overseer, gave up a wife banger a promotion to Bethel with the circuit overseer's initials.
Well, not your brother-in-law, because he was in the circuit work at that time.
Okay,
But
same congregation.
Yeah.
But he's there at the parties when they come down. That's what I'm saying. So that's my message to all of those people in the XJW. Don't mess with me. Just apologize to Raymond France.
Well,
apologize.
you're not going to get an apology.
I don't know, Jesse. I might push it. I haven't decided if I want to go down this route.
Hey, listen, like Mom said, no eres tan importante.
I know.
Look, here's another thing. Getting back to the point about the United Nations, the Jehovah's Witnesses. We have a tradition in the United States. It's not a constitutional tradition, but in Western civilization, we have a separation of church and state.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while, worlds collide. Jehovah's Witnesses, they're always quoting the United Nations in their magazines, like we showed, jw.org. I wish some witnesses would stand up and quote, isn't there any other authority on the planet that we can name other than them? Because people been disfellowship for political non-neutrality. They're supposed to be neutral.
Can you name any of the governors? Maybe any of the governors? We got 50 governors that you can name. Maybe the governors up here.
Or look, they were talking about, let's go back to one of those magazines. They were talking about economic crisis. Yeah. Could they have gone to Larry Kudlow? Now, they mentioned some guy named Gutierrez, huh?
Yeah.
Do you think that Larry Kudlow would be a bigger source than this Gutierrez guy? This guy's probably never had a job before in his life. He's a United Nations pencil pusher. I think that if you go out into the fields in Yuma, Arizona, where they're planting lettuce right now, and you go get a farmer out there who's putting his money on the line, planting that, I bet you he has more economic sense than that United Nations pencil pusher. Yeah, it's the next picture.
It's the next one?
Yeah, it's the next one. Watch. Okay, that was the special campaign. And then go to the next one. There it is. Footnote, international. It says, according to a recent global, there has been a striking fall off in real monthly wages. It warns that if nothing is done, there will be an increasing inequality and a decline in the living standards of many workers. International Labor Organization, which is a UN, it is a UN NGO. They could have got a businessman from California who lost their business and put it back up during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But they go to a United Nations organization to talk about it. But this is on every subject. This is what drives me crazy. Why are they doing that? Why are they going Chris Christie? Why is Jehovah going Chris Christie? You know, drop it. The UN doesn't like you.
That's why.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was it.
Yeah, I'm sorry I went on that rant, guys. You know, but it just pisses me off. It just pisses me off that don't talk bad, like Ronald Reagan says. Don't talk bad. Don't say. Listen, I'm going to say this, Jesse. Don't get mad at me, but don't say at the. I have it right here. Man, I wrote it down. No, just don't say that it's waste. Let me see, wasted effort.
Gilbert, look what Gorgeous Roddy says.
In the 42-minute video, 42-minute mark, 45 seconds, she said years and years of wasted effort. And they're like agreeing that all of the work that everybody's done on child molestation, on shunning and on suicide, all that stuff, wasted effort. And I'm saying no. And you know what, Jesse, this goes back to this point. I'm going to say it. And I said it in today's 6 screens. This is the problem I have. Jesus Christ did not come down to, and he didn't care about a temple that was made with stone, with granite, and with silver, copper, gold, and all the precious metals. Jesus Christ didn't care about that. Jesus Christ cared about the individual person that was a sheep without a shepherd. So all of this stuff about taking down the watchtower, in my opinion, is horse shit. Horse shit. It's only a freaking corporation. I care about the people, the individual people. And if it's suicide, if shunning, if birthday parties, if whatever that subject is, Jesse, there was an email. Check this out. Somebody told me that in the Joe and Fran show that was happening on the 6 screens, I got a message, and she said, there was an experience about a mother that pulled her daughter out of a prom in front of everyone. According to Jimmy and his girlfriend, Selena, not sexual girlfriend, but her friend, his friend, that's years of wasted effort. That's wasted effort. No, Jesse, a Jehovah's Witness mom, pulls out a daughter out of prom in front of all of her classmates. This is what I'm talking about, Jesus Christ. If that information right there will wake up a young person or a mom to say, what the hell's wrong with us? I don't care about the $1 million Kingdom Hall, because the individual life trumps everything. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're right. Went on a rant. I just wanted to acknowledge what Roddy said up there. Gorgeous Roddy Piper. Gorgeous Roddy Chrome.
That is a requirement to be a UN NGO member?
Yeah, I had heard that. I had heard that one of the requirements was that as an NGO, you have to quote UN information, UN directives, UN policies. So as an NGO, could we be seeing evidence of Watchtower in their writings always quoting the UN because they have to? In other words, have they sold their soul to the UN? I don't know. Now that's some conspiracy theory shit. Has Jehovah sold his soul to the UN?
I think it's on this one. I mean, check this out. Look at the bottom. This is what he's talking about. You're talking about. For example, the word post-truth, which was coined to describe this situation, has surged in recent times, and it's that post-truth. All of these words that are, and it goes back to what you said about the book of Revelation. These are words that are inspired by demons. All of these words that are coming out of the United Nations, trans stuff. Who ever heard of trans? Nobody's ever heard of trans. But all of these words that are coming out are demon inspired. And maybe that's what he's talking about. That these people have to say what in Revelations, it talked about the frogs.
Right.
Yeah. That's maybe what he's leading to is, and this is what it is, that Watchtower is going to start using the same language, the pure language of its false religion, the United Nations. And it's words like that, the post-truth. And this, guys, is why I'm paranoid. This is why I don't use the word critical thinking. This is why I don't use the word cognitive dissonance. I'm scared like shit. I'm an ex-Jehovah's Witness. I'm scared to sound like all of you guys. Because I don't want to fall in that trap. Go ahead.
And Jehovah's Witnesses, I said they're a leftist organization. This is where I get it from. If you go to that asterisk that you read, the post-truth, jw.org, go to the asterisk and click the asterisk.
Yeah,
it goes to the Oxford Dictionary, declared post-truth to be the 2016 word of the year. Okay, so Jehovah picks this, post-truth, and the politician, 2016 word of the year by the Oxford Dictionary in the jw.org magazine website. What happened in 2016?
Donald Trump was elected. And hold on. Two things happened. Donald Trump was elected president, and I was officially elected, but they didn't let me in.
No, they impeached you twice.
Yeah, but go ahead. 2016.
But they're supposed to be politically neutral. Mm-hmm. They could have gotten something else. For example, they could have gone to a politician, and in the past, maybe in the 18th century, the 19th century, the 20th century, they could have got a historical of somebody who was a confirmed liar. For example, I did not have sex with that woman. But see, they associate it with somebody who's not left of center. This is why I always say the Watchtower is a leftist organization. You could dissect it all the time. They're either quoting left-wing organizations or their bias is plainly to see. And I'm a poorly educated guy, and I could dissect this all day long. You got to be like Babe Ruth.
Poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Yeah. Because we haven't sold our soul, our brain, our thinking ability. Yeah. I'm a poorly educated. I'm poor. I haven't sold my soul yet. Now these rich, yeah.
And kudos, I'm going to give it kudos to the Watchtower that they can be like the wolves in sheep clothing. They cannot be a church. They can have black mass. They can do everything, but then they make you believe that they're right-wing fundamental Christian church. Yeah, the labels, dude. These guys are. It's truly satanic.
Look, people see them in the street. They go, "Oh, those are the Bible thumpers." These people thump no Bible. They could be digital clickers, but they're not Bible thumpers. Have you seen all the videos when people go up to their cart witnessing? All they do is direct people to jw.org.
They're Bible thumpers.
They're Bible clickers. Yeah.
And what did Dad and Angela say? They went to an assembly and there was no Bibles. What are you doing with that old dinosaur?
They're not Bible thumpers. They're not right-wing fundamental. They tell you they're not a church.
So it's the beautiful thing. That's the beauty. They got you coming and going. Masters of disguise. Mm-hmm. Holy cow. Jesse, we've been on way too long.
Yeah. So let's close her up. Close up the CBS mailbag.
So we have a very important message because, Jesse and I, we always get messages from ambassadors, attorney generals, but we got one from the President of the United States.
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
That's the message. Yes.
Yeah, you love everybody. You love the highly educated and you love the poorly educated.
And
you got to remember, there's an American tradition. There's an American tradition and a tradition that's deeply rooted in Western civilization. When Jesus came to earth, what did he do to his apostles? He washed their feet.
Yes.
He gave his life in sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
What did the American soldiers do in Afghanistan? They gave their lives for freedom. What did they do in Normandy? They gave their lives. What is happening right now, these religious leaders and these political leaders don't understand that they are servant of us, we the people, we the poorly educated, the highly educated, all of us. But when you're entrusted with the public service of serving other people, it is a great service. It is one of sacrifice. This is what our dear brothers who are in public service don't understand right now. They are there to serve themselves first and the public second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Sometimes never at all. This is uniquely not an American or Christian concept. This is uniquely not. The Jehovah's Witnesses shouldn't be saying, hey, I'm going to build a house in paradise. Why don't you read the verse that says, pick up your cross and follow me?
Yeah. Hey, I feel bad about leaving because, I think Joe and Fran just finished a show. The numbers are clicking. They're on the chat. And I hope you guys really did like the show.
If we bring a little joy into your humdrum lives, it makes us feel as though our hard work ain't been in vain for nothing.
Well,
You all.
Bless you all. So,
well, real quick, just do a quick recap. We could do it a few minutes of what, just show the pictures. You could do 1, 2, 3, just real slow. On the
let's get new ones. Elaine is here. Everybody's here. So let's just do a recap.
Hey, can you do that real quick while I go get a cup of coffee?
Yeah. So Jesse and I were talking about how this image, all of you're seeing them in the JW.org magazines, JW.org website, and although you know and I know that they're computer generated images, the average Jehovah's Witness, come on, they're going to think that's a real picture. Number one. But let's go on here. Remove from studio. Let's go to slides. Watchtower 1. This is the magazine. A Better World is Near. We talked about how of all of the words, of all the towns and all the gin joints in all the world, why did Watchtower choose that one? Build back better. A better world is near. Jesus didn't talk about a better world. Jesus says he's making all things new. Why didn't that magazine say Watchtower, announcing Jehovah's kingdom? Jesus is making all things new. He didn't. And so then they go on to number 3, the next page. We need to build a better world, build back better. And they quote Antonio Guterres. They didn't quote President Trump, Putin, Xi Jinping. They didn't quote Macron. They didn't quote any other leader. They quoted the United Nations. And this is what we're saying. Watchtower needs to get a room because they are in an incestuous relationship with the United Nations. Jesse, so do this so I can keep. What do we see here?
Now, this is real important. Economic problems. What will God's kingdom do? This is the latest. So you went over a couple of different ones, but this is the latest one that you could go to right now, today. And it talks about the economic problems. What will God's kingdom do? And it's a special campaign. They're going to go door to door in all the different towns, countries, and talk about what God's kingdom is going to do. But go to the next page, if you don't mind. And there you go. And according to a recent global report, they go and quote the United Nations. It's just like clockwork. Every time I go to jw.org, and me and Gilbert get in a fight all the time over this. I go, hey, Gilbert, go to jw.org. And he goes, no, I can't go there. I get violently sick. I start throwing up. I break out in rash. Gilbert can't go to jw.org. He's like a Jehovah's Witness who can't wear a cross. He can't go to jw.org. But so I go in there and I take pictures and I send it to him. But do you have the picture of what who they're quoting? They put an asterisk there. Look at who it is. International Labor Organization. Now, and I say the Jehovah's Witnesses are not a church. They're not a Christian congregation. They are a leftist organization, a communist political organization. Maybe not communist, but they are a leftist center political organization. Look at We're in America. We're American. We're better than the British. We beat them twice.
Mhm.
We don't spell labor Labour. Labor Day is Labor. If you do a Google search on that word labor, you know what the first thing that's going to pop up? The Labour Party in the UK. Labor in the United States signifies the Labour Party. It's a leftist organization.
And they could have changed it, but that's maybe how they spelled it in October 1919. And I say there's no such thing as coincidences, because this organization that Watchtower loves to quote was founded the month that Jesus also named the governing body, gave him rule over all his domestics. October 1919. Yeah.
And look at who they quote, and this goes on and on and on. And that's just a quick. I've just been doing this for the last couple of months, but I guess in my sleep, my brain said, "Hey, there's a common denominator. They're always quoting the United Nations." I was just reviewing it in my sleep. That's what I do. I'm processing information, and they are always quoting the United Nations and the NGOs. It's not just the NGOs and the International Labor Organization. And we had a question, like, who is your greatest economist? Do you go when you want to talk about gold and silver?
Peter Schiff.
You go to Peter Schiff.
I go to Peter Schiff.
What about Robert Kiyosaki?
Those are match made in heaven.
Okay.
Those
What about Larry Kudlow?
No, Robert Kiyosaki, Peter Schiff, hands down.
Okay. What about the United Nations or Larry Kudlow?
Larry Kudlow.
That's what I'm saying. Is there any Jehovah's Witness out there? Hello, any Jehovah's Witness? Go to Warwick. Tell, hey, brothers, get your head out of your ass. Let's quote Larry Kudlow.
Mm-hmm.
Quit going to the goddamn United Nations, even for economics. Go to your local farmer. Go to your local grocer. There's people more qualified to talk about economics than the United Nations.
And so now let's go on to the next article. The next Watchtower. Is the truth important anymore? They start talking about the truth, and
this is wait.
Yeah.
Should I tear out my shirt like New Testament style?
Yeah. Hold on. What?
They go and blaspheme. Don't you blaspheme?
Hold on. What? Get the two rule.
Show them the blasphemy. Next picture.
This is it, guys. Ready?
Why did we say that the Watchtower is like an AntiChrist organization? Why? Okay, or anti-Christian organization. People say, oh, they're the Christian congregation. No, they're not. Christians don't go around stabbing other Christians in the back. Christians don't go around vaccinating everybody. Christians don't go around lying about myocarditis. Look what it says. Why is that so common today? In our time, which the Bible calls the last days, Satan's misleading influence on the world has grown. Satan. People commonly tell lies to mislead others and take advantage of them. And then they show a picture of the cross and a Christian man. Think about that. Think about that blaspheme. The world has enough problems. Christians. And then they have the gall to call themselves a Christian congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses. We have to pray for them. I mean, they're in a bad, bad state, these Jehovah's Witnesses.
Talk about projecting.
God.
And when it comes to, like Jesse and I were talking, when it comes to falsehoods, the false, you know what the big lie is? I was telling you earlier, we were doing a recap. The prices of gas and the prices of food are not going up. This is losing its value. That's the falsehood.
Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about all the lies.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about all the lies that are going on in the planet right now. For example, we talked about how myocarditis. We talked about how some government official said that, yes, there is a chance, a small chance of getting myocarditis in the Jehovah jab. But Jehovah never warned us about that. That's lie, omissions, half-truths. Watchtower could have written about that. Hey, we were wrong about the Jehovah jab. It's not a lie by omission. We're going to tell you. There's so many lies on the planet right now that a man could have a baby, that a woman could be a man. So many lies are going on, and they choose to pick on Christianity. Crazy, man.
So are we done?
Yeah, we're done. Any questions?
Any questions before we go?
No. Joe and Fran?
Well, I think the best way, because you guys know how, well, you guys know how we started, right? So let me do it right here. Video file. So when we start our show, we like to start it like this.
Dean, how you doing? It's good to see you again, Dean. Hi, guys. Sit down.
And we like it because this injects the testosterone that many ex-Jehovah's Witnesses need now that they're leaving Watchtower. They say, hey, I've been neutered all my life. How, Gilbert, do I get a fighting spirit like you? How is it that I can be like GG for GP and just be, really manly and filled with energy to fight? Well, that's what we do here. Now, I'm thinking, I don't know, Jesse, I want to end the show just like I finished the show. I want to have my own little thing,
We bring a little joy into your humdrum lives. It makes us feel as though our hard work ain't been in vain for nothing.
I got this from Selena, it reminds me of Selena, I'm the intellectual, you guys are not real smart, but I hope
we're the poorly educated.
I hope everything. So, John Marciano, we love you too. Joe's right. Beta males rule. I enjoyed the show, and we'll see you guys on the flip side. What's her name's coming back next week? Linda James. She'll burn the midnight oil. She texted me. She'll be ready to go next week. Damn, guys. Shaq, so much for burning the midnight oil. Bye, guys. Yeah, damn. Yeah,
You know what? We miss Shaq Composer because he has some of the best comments. Real good comments.
Yeah, he does have good comments. So, guys, next time you see jw.org, tell them, get a room. Get a room.
Hey, yeah. You know what? And that was the point. If you're new, you're just coming on. If you're Jehovah's Witness and you're listening, there's 7 million of you, allegedly, 8 million.
Allegedly. Mm-hmm.
Somebody go to Warwick and tell them, quit quoting damn United Nations. Now, I have nothing against the United Nations. That's great. But what I'm saying is you're supposed to be a church, a Christian congregation. At least quote some Christian people. At least fake it a little bit that you don't have the Joneses for the politics.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. All right, guys. And embrace everything, even the fight, even the disagreements, even that. Embrace it. Embrace it all. It's not the end of the world. This too shall pass. So love you guys. Talk